You see the background, folks. It is not the Bel-Air review just yet. That will be out soon. But today, we're over here, bounding into comics. We're going to talk about an article that dropped yesterday. And being as how I review this show, and I was recently told in the comment section of one of my reviews that this show isn't made for me, and as a matter of fact, the original wasn't made for me, and I need to go watch Fox News. Well, I just want to tell that commenter that I don't really watch Fox News. I don't watch cable news much at all. So sorry to disappoint you. I know exactly why you said what you said, probably because of the fact that you're really racist, and it's the color of my skin that you're referring to is why the show is not made for me. But anyway, should we get into the video today? Let's get into the video. Monkeys, roll the footage.
Yo!
Yeah, that works.
I like
all right,
that.
okay. All right, moving on.
Hey, what about Tulip?
So, here we are. Bel-Air is the latest example of Hollywood's horrible trend of woke reboots. This from Jacob Smith yesterday over Bounding Into Comics, who asked for an R-rated reboot of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Hollywood did. If you were reading this, you probably watched a number of your favorite television shows, movies, get a remake or a reboot over the last few years. Ghostbusters, Star Wars, Doctor Who, Cowboy Bebop, the list goes on. But these are not your average reboots. No, they all have an agenda, and they're infused with ideology that, if it was there in the first place, it was subtle and it was well written. Now, it's just in your face, slap you in the mouth with a frying pan Hollywood messaging for a woke agenda. And Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the original iteration, was fun, and it was for everybody. Anybody could enjoy that show. Unfortunately, this version has not been the same. This article will go into detail, and I'll add my thoughts on the way. The term woke reboot is one that I've been using for a few years to describe Hollywood's practice of remaking beloved properties by modernizing them to have a progressive slant. Many of these remakes have the same story as their predecessors. It's almost as if Hollywood is actively trying to replace their history. While NBC Universal decided to spare The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air its name, the decision to move forward with yet another woke reboot was based on the popularity of a YouTube concept that drew the eye of actor Will Smith. A remake of Fresh Prince, but this time we're changing the genre from a comedy sitcom to a gritty drama. A television show that only worked 30 years ago because everybody loved Will Smith and James Avery gets rebooted to look like The Wire. It's like taking Step by Step and turning it into The Sopranos.
Come on.
You know, and like I said, I'm all for diversity, you know, when it was done right. It's bad that Hollywood has to go back 30 years plus to get shows and wokeify them, and then try to package it and pass it off to us. And then if you don't like it, you're a racist. It's like, no, I liked the show when it was done right the first time. Like Family Matters. I was talking about that with my wife the other day. I said, Family Matters. Yeah, wife. I said wife for those of you out there who are like, oh my god, he's an incel. He makes fun of Captain Marvel.
It wasn't made for him. It wasn't made for him.
About Family Matters. You knew that the Winslows were a black family, but the issues and the problems that they went through were issues and problems that every family has. So Fresh Prince was much the same way. I mean, there were certain instances and storylines that were absolutely only black people would deal with these issues. But the show as a whole was just an entertaining show that any family could watch and enjoy.
But that's not the case here.
Which I said before in one of my Bel-Air reviews, my wife and I both watched The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and she started watching this with me. She went back and caught up, and she's like, this is terrible. She goes, this is absolutely horrible. I'm like, I know. I wish it was good. You know, if they would have done it good, I wouldn't be complaining about it. You know, we'd probably be praising it, but that's not the case here.
Well,
Seconds into the first episode, you're treated to the blaring rap music of local Philly rappers Freeway and Meek Mill, reminding you this isn't the family-friendly sitcom with positive reinforcement that you're used to. That idea was so Reagan era. We live in an era of nihilism where mercy is mistaken for amusement. Set in the modern day, this Philadelphia is one where people say the N-word and pull guns on each other because we need to reflect a realistic take on how the story would be told. There's no Patty's Pub in this Philly. In Bel-Air, we take the charismatic character of Will Smith and turn him into an angry, bitter teenager. Will, unlike his sitcom counterpart, is quick to jump into the arms of confrontation at the expense of rationale. He has an encounter with a local gang leader who put a hit out on him after a pickup basketball game went awry. Yeah, the whole little scuffle on the court and his mom got scared. It's a much darker take in this episode on that, and it's absolutely horrendous to watch. He ends up in jail and is then bailed out by Uncle Phil and shipped to California, where he can become the new Prince of Bel-Air. This is where the difference between the two shows becomes glaring, to the point where it becomes a breaking point for many fans of the show. The name of these characters are the same, but the personalities have taken a complete 180. Yeah, to the tune of Carlton snorting Xanax in his walk-in closet. I mean, it's hilarious. Let's take the lovable father figure of Uncle Phil and turn him into a corrupt politician who cares more about his campaign than his family, because you wouldn't expect a black man who lives in Bel-Air to keep his nose clean. Do you?
He's out of line, but he's right.
Speaking of dirty noses, Carlton has gone from a nerdy preppy student who viewed his father as his biggest role model and has turned into a coke-snorting egomaniac whose only resemblance of the original character is he's not down with the culture. Aisha pointed out in episode 7, I believe it was, from my last review. You can check that out. I'll link all the Bel-Air reviews in the description. They're also in a playlist for your convenience. Hillary Banks is still a narcissist, so it makes sense that she would have a popular Instagram page. Add in an unfaithful Aunt Vivian and Ashley Banks, who is now gay, because NBC Universal wouldn't greenlight this project without alphabet representation. And more rap music than a Hot 97 concert, and you have a woke reboot of The Fresh Prince fit for modern times. They really ruined the character of Hillary. Yeah, Hillary was a narcissist in the first one, but she was at least kind of lovable and relatable still. This version of Hillary is just painful to watch. Gorgeous, easy on the eyes, but not anything redeeming about her at all.
Nothing.
Woke reboots are fundamentally lazy attempts to cash in on established franchises that do more to destroy legacies than add to them. Over the last decade, Hollywood writers have figured out that instead of producing original content that they would have to start from scratch to produce, promote, and build an audience from nothing, woke reboots allow content creators to start a creative process on easy mode and take advantage of a fan base who already have invested in the name. Imagine a screenwriter who crafts a story about a rich black family who lives on a different side of the law. Imagine having to pitch how your idea is any better than television shows such as Empire, Power with similar concepts. You would probably have a very difficult time doing so. Now imagine you take that same idea, blend it into a world-famous television show that already did the hard work to build a fan base and respect their fandom. This is how shows like Bel-Air get made. A show that would have died on the vine if left to its own merits, but the hard work has already been done for it simply by attaching itself to an already made franchise. It's like playing a video game with cheat codes because it's too hard for you to beat the game on normal. To make matters worse, creators think that dropping callbacks to the original series somehow makes the quality of the reboot good because he said West Philadelphia born and raised, and I clapped. The creative bankruptcy of these shows is insulting enough, but to add insult to injury, the uncreative television show that bites off your fandom decides to get woke in the process.
This is outrageous. It's unfair.
We all know that Hollywood is uber progressive, and the overwhelming majority of the shows and movies cannot even get approved by major studios without checking the right boxes for diversity and inclusion. This doesn't make TV or movies any easier to watch, and Bel-Air is a great example of this. In the pilot episode of the show, Will and Carlton are put at odds because Carlton allows his white friends to sing rap lyrics using the N-word without, quote, checking them as a black man. All other character traits of Carlton are removed from the reboot outside of the perception from black progressives that Carlton's is a sellout to black people, an issue that ironically the original series addressed in one of the best moments from the show.
Well, Carlton is not like you and me. We don't need a brother like him in this fraternity. You said we need to stick together, but you don't even know what that means.
Yeah, and that's a very telling clip right there, and that was OG Bobby Johnson. I haven't seen that episode. I haven't seen any of the original episodes in so long. I believe it's on HBO Max. I'm going to start watching it, with my son, because I want him to see how fun the show was. I don't let him watch the new one. He doesn't watch it with me. I keep him away from that, as he's probably sitting out there watching Starship Troopers right now.
Ooh,
A popular complaint from progressive Hollywood is that audiences don't want new things. They just want the same thing because they're afraid of change. Whatever you say, Wachowski brothers, sisters. This is projection at its finest. It's not that audiences don't want new things. Audiences are fully aware that Hollywood can't give it to them. Hollywood doesn't have the ability in 2022 to produce new content that doesn't inject their political ideology. Hell, most of the people that still have resist Trump in their Twitter bios 15 months after the Biden administration took over.
And you ain't black.
What they do is inject that poison into your favorite franchises and then blame you for not accepting it with a smile and a handshake. It's like expecting someone to hug you after you already sucker punched them twice. Bel-Air is nothing more than the latest example of Hollywood's creative bankruptcy that has led audiences having more trust in TikTokers explaining the migrant crisis than a Hollywood writing room. The TV show you once loved is nowhere to be found. Like all woke Reboot, they are nothing more than glorified fan fiction with the backing of multinational corporations.
Have you ever seen anything like this, Pat?
When an industry is hell-bent on remaking everything you like and love regardless of your consent, the only question left to ask is, how does it feel to have lived long enough to see all of your favorite franchises go down in flames? And that's the case with Bel-Air. It is a poor excuse for a reboot, reimagining, whatever you want to call it. It misses every mark that the original iteration hit. It's not fun. It's not enjoyable. It's not endearing. The characters don't make you fall in love with them and want to see where they're going next. The inclusion of the hard rap beat at the beginning of the very first episode made me roll my eyes. And I say that as somebody who is listening to, Beasties, NWA, Ice Cube, all that since I was probably 7 years old. So, and that's why I think somebody's, oh, well, this show's not for you. You're white. Her. Well, guess what, Junior? I've probably seen the original more than you have. That it's not for you excuse is such a disingenuous attempt at shutting an argument down without any actual debate or anything that would resemble a meaningful discourse. Folks, this show's bad. Like I said, I'll suffer so you don't have to, because that's what I do. I suffer on behalf of your sins. But we've got a lot coming up here by way of some reviews and things that are awesome and fun. We're going to review Action Jackson for you guys. We're going to do some watch parties coming up. That's it, gang. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Leave your thoughts. Do you hate the woke reboots as much as I do? Because if you don't, I question why you're here in the first place, but you're welcome anyway, because we don't want an echo chamber. We don't have an echo chamber. We have difference of opinion. We may agree on things, but there's always things and nuances and subtleties that we disagree on around here. So that breeds meaningful dialogue and discourse. Be sure to smack that like button. If you're not subscribed, please let today be the day you subscribe to the channel, and make sure you ding that bell for notifications. And as I said, there's a members button down there. If you want to join, go ahead and join. It's only $2.99 a month. We're providing you with 2 extra live streams a week just for members, early access to videos. We're going to be sending out ETEP's kazoos to all my kazooians coming soon from our P.O. box. All that ahead here. I'm ETEP Queen of the Place to Be Reviews. I've been here with all of yous. If I don't see you, have a great day, a pleasant tomorrow. I'll catch you on the next one.
I know, that thing's just chilling.
Some pills.
It's just fentanyl, baby.
And remember,
I could do this all